a dream that you had for so many years dying just like that. I was very disappointed. I submitted more than 200 CVs. I didn't know, like they will never give you a feedback. Little Larissa was, I'm not sure. I was like any other child.
How did you find yourself in this space?
That's a good question. I'm a big dreamer.
Maybe an adventurer.
And I'm an adventurer. That's how I went to the UK. That was my first time. It was an amazing experience. Learn from them and then build your own.
Yes.
And I believe that has been the best ever advice that I was given. Then later on, I got another opportunity as an Africa Union volunteer. For me, the advice is definitely to find your purpose in life. I had the opportunity to go and serve in Kenya, and that's how I found myself in the East Africa.
Okay.
Yes.
And probably even in Burundi.
In Burundi.
That's a very nice story. What is the season of your life about today?
Well, I'm enjoying life.
Yeah, okay.
I'm enjoying life, and I'm taking advantage of what God is giving me as opportunity, and being able to, to plant seeds in people's life. I mean, that's what matters the most for me today.
That's true.
And yeah, so I mean, that's stage. I'm at that stage of my life, and I'm grateful.
Okay, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
And to anyone who meets you for the first time, how would you introduce yourself? Like, maybe that's the first time I didn't know you.
I'm a dreamer. I'm a big dreamer.
Maybe an adventurer.
And I'm an adventurer, definitely.
Okay.
And very passionate.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. A younger Larissa back in Benin, how was your life back in there? And were there signs that maybe one day you inspire many today, or any sign showing that maybe, or a person who would tell you when they were too young that maybe one day be inspiring a lot of people?
Thank you for the question. Back, the small Larissa, the little Larissa was. I'm not sure. I was like any other child. But what I can say, at a very early age, when I was 7 years old, that's when the first time I went to my mom and I told her that I wanted to become an architect. And it sounds weird to everyone in the family. And I actually do remember exactly what my grandma said at that time. She was like, never mind, she's not serious. She doesn't know even what she's talking about. And so life continued.
Yeah.
And I grew up in an interesting environment. But anyway, I had the opportunity to join an association. It's actually a global association called the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts. And I joined this association when I was still young. And that's where I will say that I was first introduced to community, to service, because we were always given like challenges to go to visit. Maybe sometimes we even go to see old people and just do services, or go to hospitals. So I guess that's where I for the first time I understood the importance of serving.
That's true.
Other people. And then growing up, becoming a young girl, there were a couple of how can I put it? A couple of opportunities that were out there to serve, and I really grabbed those opportunities, and I was involved in so many activities here and there. And I don't even know, there was a time it was a youth conference happening in Benin back, and other young people came from other countries, and I was part of the organizing committee. So when we were asked to introduce ourselves, I stood up, I mentioned my name, and then next I'm like, I'm a change maker. And then everyone was like, And at that time, what is funny, I couldn't even say a word in English. So everyone was laughing. Like my friend, they're like, change maker, Larissa, are you sure? But anyway, but it's something that's stick actually to my heart. And from there, like whenever I will go, I will mention that I'm a change maker. Not that I was doing something special at that time yet. Maybe I was doing something, but for me it was nothing, right? But I knew it was important for me to serve from that time.
That's great. You mentioned something about speaking English, and also when I'm reading maybe on your platforms, I get confused. I cannot really, know whether you are a French-speaking person or an English-speaking person. How do you merge the two languages?
Oh, wow. I was not expecting this question, but yeah, thank you. Well, I was one of the worst students in the English class back then at school. I only had interest with mathematics, anything to do with science. I was happy with that. But when it comes to history and those, I wasn't there. Language, I wasn't there at all. I used to really struggle, and I was such a bad student to the point that I remembered my English teacher. The lady was coming from Nigeria, and she had that accent, and it was, we are learning English, and she's saying "mada," "fada," and I'm like, huh? So I was, it was funny. And after a couple of times, she told me, you know what? I don't want to see you in this class anymore. So that was it. So I was only allowed to go for the exams. I would only sit in class just for exams, but I will not attend the class. And of course, you can just guess the marks I was getting at that time. So anyway, I learned nothing. So went to the university with that bad, level in English. But the good thing about this organization I mentioned about, because I was so much involved, I've been given a lot of opportunities. And one of the opportunity actually, it was back, I can't remember when was it again, but anyway, I had that opportunity. I was very young still, and I was selected to join a leadership program, and the program was taking place in the UK. So the first question I asked was, are they going to be translators or interpreters? And then they're like, yeah, of course, because we know they're francophones participants, so you're good. So that's how I went to the UK. That was my first time. It was an amazing experience, but unfortunately, we spent 2 weeks in this program, and what happened? They realized that I was the only one actually who couldn't speak English. So they're like, what's the point of paying an interpreter just for one person? No way. So they decided to cancel that. And then I was sitting next to a lady who passed away, who used to be my mentor. And she would be the one actually would be interpret everything. So by the time everyone finished laughing, that's when I would start laughing, And you're like, what is this? And sometimes I had so many ideas to share, and I couldn't because I couldn't speak English, and I was so frustrated. So what I was expecting while I was traveling to the UK for this program, I didn't get that. So I went back with so much frustration in my heart. I remembered after a week, I found myself crying. I went outside and I was just in tears. And there was this lady who was walking outside the office. She's from Rwanda and she lived in the UK. So she saw me from far. Then she's like, girl, are you okay? I'm like, no. So she came to me, she hugged me, and then she was asking me what happened. And then I told her, like, I feel useless in this program. And she was like, no. I mean, we've heard about you, Larissa, for so many years, and we are happy to have you here. And then I was telling her, you know what? I just can't speak because I can't share my ideas because I don't understand. I don't speak English. And then she felt so sorry for me. There isn't much she could do at that time. But then she was like, you know what? There are opportunities. I mean, you can also apply to become a volunteer at one of the world centers, and then you will definitely get the opportunity to learn English. So anyway, after the 2 weeks, I left, went back home, but very disappointed. And I told myself, this is the first time and the last time that English will embarrass me in my life. And from there, I made the decision to learn English. So the first thing I did was to go to the American cultural center.
Spaces maybe.
And I asked them, do you offer classes? And they said, oh, we do have clubs. English clubs. If you want, you can join. So of course, that's what I did. I joined one of the English clubs. But it was, then the second action I took was to apply now. I went online to check if they were offering some volunteerism opportunities at one of the work centers. And that's what I did. And I applied, and fortunately, I got selected.
Okay.
And I was actually the first Francophone in that center at Pax. It's called Pax Lodge. And it was in the UK. So I went back, like few months later, I was in the UK back now, but this time I had an agenda to learn English. It was something. It was something because, first of all, I was the only Francophone we were about 15 young people coming from all over the world, and everyone speak English except you, and they're making jokes, they're laughing at me sometimes, and I just can't say anything. But I was busy learning. Anyway, whatever they're saying, I was busy capturing what was essential for me. And then that's how I started improving slowly. So for me, it was really frustration, but at some point I was really motivated to, I love challenges. I love being challenged. So it was that time for me. And after all, I went back and life moved on. Then later on, I got another opportunity as a Africa Union volunteer. And I remember during the trainings, we were having conversation among other young people, and we're like, well, where do you want to be sent? Because like you have to leave your country and go elsewhere. And I was like, I want to go to an Anglophone country. They're like, hey, madam, are you serious? I'm like, you wait and see. But I was very serious, and I'm glad that finally that's what I got. And I had the opportunity to go and serve in Kenya. And that's how I found myself in the East Africa. And
okay.
Yes.
And probably even in Burundi.
In Burundi.
That's a very nice story. You wear many hats, right? Today,
True.
Leadership coach, strategist, change maker. But how do you step into this space? Maybe like at the point of, wearing a lot of hats, doing this leadership coach and everything. How did you find yourself in this space?
That's a good question. I've had an interesting journey. As I mentioned earlier, I had a dream, and my dream was to become an architect. And as I was growing up, that dream story became bigger and bigger. And I knew that this is what I want. And they do try to, to suggest me, oh, you can do this, you can do that. But for me, I really did stick to that. But anyway, eventually, I had the opportunity to join a technical school later on, where I got my degree, and then I was admitted. I passed the national exam. Then here I am at the university. But many things happened before, and I was at a point I was very disappointed, and I decided not to. Well, I not that I didn't want to pursue this, but anyway, at some point it was hard to make some decision, and I said, you know what? Let me focus. Okay, let me focus on my studies, and then we'll think about what's next. Because I knew at that time that there was no architecture school, university in my country. So I had the opportunity to apply in a school in France, and unfortunately, the first year I failed for some reason that I will not share today. But after that, I was so disappointed. I was frustrated because there was some injustice that happened. So from there, I was like, you know what, whatever. Let me first pass, and then we'll see what comes next. So anyway, here I am now with a degree, and there's no school. So with my mother, we try to do some research, and one of the options we had was Togo. And the only school in West Africa, the only architecture school which is accredited is based in Togo. And you have to pass a test. The selection process is very tough. But anyway, what was so unfortunate, they had already closed the registration. So it was too late for me even to apply. So what next? And that was the time a friend of mine came to me, and he was like, Larissa, I got a good news for you. Okay. And then he told me, oh, I've heard that they're going to open a new school here in Benin. And I'm like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah. And actually, the dean from that school in Togo is the one who is opening the school. So it's someone whom was actually very known in the architecture sector in West Africa. So I was like, okay, why not? So I talked to my mom, and she was okay with that. There she was like, are you sure? Being the first year, she was a bit skeptic though, but with my skills, I know how to convince people often. So I did use my skills, and yeah. So I onboard her on my projects, and she's like, okay, let's do it. So yes, here we are. We started first year, everything was going on well. Second year, third year, then fourth year, that's when we received a letter. Oh, guess what? They are going to close this school. What? Are you kidding? And this was not... Actually, what was, for me, the worst thing is that director, like, he did not even, like, he was not bold enough to come and face us. He ran away, and he just sent a letter informing us that, guys, we are shutting down the school, and there's nothing that I can do about this. So let me cut the story short. That was the beginning of another journey for me. A dream that you had for so many years, dying just like that. I was very disappointed, and I will not lie, I thought about dying I don't know how many times. And sometimes I tell people that actually people who commit suicide, they're very bold. And I think I wasn't bold enough, because I had the idea really, and I did try even something, but it didn't work out. So, you get to a point and you're like, what am I going in this life? What am I going to do? Because that's all I knew. That's all, like, my entire life was about that. I had a dream, and it was really hard for me to transit from that space to something completely different, completely new. And it took about months to really try to convince me to accept that this is the reality, and you still have to, life has to go on.
Yeah,
Larissa, life has to go on. I mean, that's not the end of it. But it wasn't hard. It wasn't easy. It was very hard. And I'm happy that my mom she's a very prayerful woman. And she used to pray a lot. She will pray for me. She will, give me words. You are a winner. You are not a loser.
Words of encouragement.
And I'm like, what are you talking about? Here I am losing, and you're telling me I'm a winner. What does it mean? But anyway, it was really hard until eventually I had to accept to take up a new challenge, and that's how I found myself studying marketing and communication. I did a master's degree in that field, but I had no interests. I was actually sometimes some of the lecturer will be like, you're allowed to not to sit in the class. I mean, just come to the exam, because I was just. You walk into the house in the class and you can tell this one, she's not at the right place. So anyway, what was funny, I got my master's degree with a very good. I was actually among the
flying
best.
colors, flying colors,
and people were like, how? And for me, it was, well, I came to study. So whether I'm passionate or not, I will study and I will pass the exam. That was, for me, it has always been like that. So, okay, if getting a degree will make my mom happy, okay, let me stick to that. That was the only motivation I had at that time. Let me be honest. So, after that, that's where life started, now starting to look for jobs. It was tough. You apply, you send your CVs here and there. Nobody calls you ever. I think I submitted more than 200 CVs, and I didn't know. Like, they will never give you a feedback. You don't even know why people are not even calling you back. And here you are, people are telling you are smart, and I'm like, what are we talking about? Smart how? And I cannot even get a job. And then one day I was called for an interview. It's very interesting. I showed up and the guy looked at me. He said, okay, actually I called you because I was very curious. Because in your CV, I'm only saying architecture, and then all of a sudden, master in marketing communication. Who is this? How is this coming in? So for him, he called me actually out of curiosity. So he was not even going to give me that job anyway. So that was something. And he was like, tell me about you. I mean, who are you? And how did you find yourself there? So anyway, I told him about the experience.
Yeah.
And he was very sorry for me. And he said, you're very smart. And after listening to you, girl, you know what? Think about creating your own company. And I'm like, huh? Yeah. You have so much ideas, and I'm thinking about some managers that I know in this city. Whenever they will see your CV or meet with you, they will be afraid of you taking up their position. So the only thing I will advise you, go apply for some internships, learn from them, and then build your own.
Yes.
And I believe that has been the best ever advice that I was given. And that was the beginning of everything for me. But then I decided to still not to follow his advice at that time. And I went ahead and launched my first business. And of course, I failed. I tried again, the second one. Of course, I failed again. And I think at some point, failure became part of
the learning process.
I mean, I was enjoying this at some point because I was like, you know what? I've tried this, it didn't work. Okay, let me try another one. But anyway, wherever I was seeing opportunities, I would come up with something that I could do there. Yeah. So I had that on the energy. And I remembered one time my mom called me and then she was like, ça va? Are you okay? Can you not just go and get some job? Because this business of yours are not working. Leave it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, Mom, no. You know, the four previous companies that I failed, at least I've learned something.
Yeah.
So the next one will be good. She's like, are we talking about the next one? How? But anyway, at some point, I was called for an internship at a bank. That was something. And I went, I spent 6 months and I knew that was not my calling.
Your thing, yeah.
It's like, that's not me. Next, it was with an insurance company. I went. They loved me as well, like at the bank. Actually, when I left the bank, they thought I was joking. They actually thought I was kidding. They called me like about 3 months and they gave up. They're like, please come back. I'm like, no. Because I was very dynamic. I was okay to run up and down. I was fit at that time. I wasn't like this, but I was very fit. And I was a good employee.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I was not like, I could feel, I don't know how to explain this, but I knew this was not meant for me. And at the insurance company, same experience. And the funny thing, at the insurance company, I was even sent to the finance department. And well, I don't know how I was doing it, but I was doing it so well. And they sent me to one of the agency because at first I started at the headquarters and they sent me to one of the agency and I was now the one managing the agency. But after some months, I'm like, no, this is not meant for me. So I quit again. So it's been, and one day I remembered that advice from that guy and I'm like, he told me something, Larissa. Why can't you
start your own thing?
No, but this time it was more about learning from someone, being inspired by someone. So anyway, now that was my goal, to find a space where I will go and learn like from A to Z. So if you send me the finance, I will learn. If you send me to the communication, I will learn. And each department was key for me. So eventually, that's when I had the opportunity with the AU. And that was one of the greatest opportunity. But in between, another company which also failed. But we are not talking about that today, right?
It's fine.
Okay.
Fine.
So anyway, that was the 6th company built.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe failed.
And failed. Yeah. So now here I am traveling to Kenya, and the executive director of that organization, it was an NGO. She was a great woman, and she's actually from Zambia. Mm-hmm. And after the first interaction, she was like, "Are you a girl guide?" I'm like, yeah, but how do you know that? She's like, "No, I could feel the energy." And I'm like, yes, indeed, I'm a girl guide. She was like, wow, I'm happy to have you on board. Mm-hmm. And then she's like, so I hope you want to stay with us because 1 year will not be enough. And we need such an energy. And then I'm like, in fact, I'm here for 2 years and a half, max 3 years. Then she's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, yeah, because I want to run my own. And then she laughed. She just laughed. And then she's like, you know what? Let's continue this conversation tomorrow. Go around, meet with other colleagues, and find out how long have they been working for this organization. Mm-hmm. So they went. So I went and started. And guess what? The youngest was turning 8 years in that company, in that organization. Others, 15, 20. And I'm like, are you the owner? I mean, do you have shares in this organization? Because if you don't have shares, what are you doing for 20 years in someone else's company? Are you growing? And it was, for me, I was so frustrated to hear some actually was sitting on the same chair from the day they walked into that organization. And I'm like, there's no growth. So anyway, when I went back to her and I'm like, these people are not adding value to your organization. And she was looking at me. She was like, girl, ça va, you okay? Like, this is too much energy. And I was like, anyway, I listened to them and I'm not changing my mind. Maximum 2.5 years and 3, and I'm out. And I'm here to learn. And she taught me real leadership. She was a real mentor to me. She has been my mentor since then. She's a lady who inspires me a lot. She works at ADB, Africa Development Bank today. And so after 2.5 years, I walked out with so much confidence, broke in my pockets, very broke, but I was confident. I had a dream, I had a vision which was clear. And in between, I found myself learning different skills and
What was the journey from your first job or initiative to the work you now do with 3HI Africa? Cigar Orange Corners. Throw us a big picture of you today. Whenever I see you, it is rare to see you alone, or when I cannot really see you alone. It's like you are with people. You are with young people. I see you maybe giving trainings, or I see you in front of people.
Something that maybe will surprise you. I'm actually an introvert person, and it took me time to be outside. And at some point, I had to pray about it because I was very shy. I didn't know how to stand before people and even look at people in the eye. I couldn't, unless I'm with my siblings, the family, my parents, the family in general, like small family. That's where I will be free to speak and make jokes. But the moment I leave that environment, the real Larissa was coming out. And as I mentioned again, because for me, it's really hard not to talk about the Girl Guides movement, because that's where really they really helped me to discover my potential and to use it, actually, to use it. And I remember the first time I was standing before people, my God, I always pee on myself. I was really shaking and oh my God, it was something. But anyway, it's been a journey, an interesting journey of my life. And I was exposed, as I said, I had the opportunity to attend various leadership trainings program. And the approach that they were using for the trainings actually was really great. So you will not, you will learn easily. So that also really inspired me. But I didn't mention that, but when I was working back in Kenya, I found myself obliged to learn photography. I didn't know even that I had passion for that. And what happened, after learning photography, I was now actually the passion, that's where everything started. And I remembered there was a day I prayed and I asked God, what do you want me to do with this passion? Because it can't be just there out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's true.
Out of the nowhere. No, there must be a reason for this. For sure. And I'm glad that he answered to my prayer. And that was actually the starting point of my decision to quit that organization. So I had a clear picture. God was calling me to help street kids. And I'm like, how am I going to do that? But anyway, I only have little savings in my pocket, but that dream in my heart was too big to hold me, to keep me in that organization. So I decided to quit. And I found myself on the streets, going on the street, going to some ghettos in Nairobi. I would ask some friends, can you come with me? Because I couldn't even speak Swahili. So some were willing to go with me, though they were very scared, they were very afraid. And I would tell them, I prayed about this. God told me that I'm safe. Let's go, trust me, and then we'll go, I will buy food and then spend quality time with these young people on the streets. And we used to meet twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And guess what? I would tell them we'll meet at 6 p.m. because during the day they hustle. They were real hustlers, those small kids on the streets. Oh my God, I was amazed. I was really inspired by them. So anyway, I will go on the streets. I'll tell them, let's meet at 6:15. And guess what? They will show up at 6:15. They will be on time. And they don't have a watch. And you're like, how? But anyway, they found a reason to be there. And they will come and we'll have good conversation. So there was a day, one of these lady came and she looked at me and then she did like this. And I will never forget this. I was wearing a white shirt.
You can even still remember the kind of
yes, yes, because that was actually the reason why I didn't want to hurt that girl, because I was afraid for the dirt on my shirt. And I looked at her, smiled, and I'm like, in my heart, I'm telling myself, okay, no, well, as much as I love what I'm doing with you guys, okay, this is too much. And guess what? I'm hearing now a voice telling me, you think you are cleaner than these kids? How is your heart condition? And that was like a slap for me. And I don't even know how. I was just in tears. And I just went to the girl and I heard her. So when I heard her, she cried. She cried for about 10 minutes. Like nobody could stop her. She was crying and crying and crying. And when finally she stopped crying, she said, no one has ever had me in my life. And, I realized that day that, oh my God, we take things for granted. And these small things mean so much.
And they mean a lot.
It means a lot to some people. And that was a life lesson for me. And it's really changed the way I see people, the way I started being more grateful for what I had, because it was a period of my time where I was questioning my life, asking God, what am I doing here? But anyway, to cut the story short, I found passion in this, helping these kids on the streets. Yeah. And at some point I bought a ticket. I went to Rwanda as well to do the same. I met amazing kids. Went to West Africa. I did the same in Togo and Benin. And I knew this was where God was calling me. But also beside that, with the Girl Guides, the work that I was doing within that organization also, my focus, like when you become a leader, you choose if you want to be a leader for the street, for the small kids or teenagers or young adults, etc. So for me, my heart was always going to the teenagers and young adults. Always. And that's where really I found passion also in helping young people. And so anyway, at some point I got broke. So all my savings,
were
gone. And then I prayed and I said, God, okay, if you're really calling me into this, provide. And next, I'm being given the vision for TH Africa. And I said, okay, let's make a deal. If the business succeeds, I will now invest in this. So that was a deal with God at that time. And yeah, here we are. And the more I was doing whatever I was doing, the areas, the field that I really wanted to, like, I was very comfortable, was really toward people, helping them discover their potential, helping them discover what they have inside and really maximizing their potential. So it all started there, and voila.
Today, what is maybe 3HI Africa, or what are you doing with the young Burundians here in Burundi specifically?
Okay, thank you for this question as well. Well, 3H Africa, we actually we call ourselves a social enterprise, and we are a consulting firm. So maybe I can talk about the 4 areas where 3H Africa focuses on. So the first area is to do with organizational strategies. So we help organizations and companies in terms of strategies, building the strategies, and from now to the next 10 years, where do you see your company and how do you want to get there?
Yeah.
And so that's the kind of work we do with companies, with organizations, and we've been able to support a couple of organizations now.
Okay.
And you've mentioned earlier about Single Family Foundation is one of the organization that we work with, because they do found some local organization here in Burundi, but also in other countries in Africa. And so for us now, it's more of like a partnership with SIGO, where the organization that they support financially, we strengthen them in terms of strategies, and sometimes we'll have to like rethink even the vision, the mission of the organization and everything, and build a theory of change where these organizations are now able to see. So for the work I'm doing, this is the change that I want to see taking place within the community. So that's one. So everything to do with strategies, we are there. The second one is to do with research and monitoring and evaluation. Why? Because we believe that data is key. You are not supposed to make decisions without data. So it's important to build companies, organizations that are data driven. So you are really meeting the needs of the people that you are serving. So that's the second area where we focus on. And the third one is to do with learning and development. So that's where now we develop a lot of programs, training programs, capacity building, and why the youth? And that's maybe will answer to your question. Because the third pillar and the fourth pillar. For the fourth pillar, we focus on innovation and entrepreneurship. But now coming to the third pillar, where we're talking about learning and development, the Burundian population is more than 65% youth. So when we are thinking about transforming the work environment, we cannot do this without the youth. So the question was like, what are the needs that young professionals are meeting, and what are the barriers that are stopping them for accessing to job opportunity and making the difference in the workplace? So we conducted a survey, and we decided to launch the first program. And that program was actually, it's part of what we call the social responsibility. For us, it's our CSR. And because for us, it's also important to give back to the community.
That's true. So
when we launched that program, it has always been free of charge. People just pay for a snack. And before we needed to look for people to pay for the venue and everything. Now, since we have our space, it's become even easier. So they will come and they will learn like what are managers or recruiters looking for. We have amazing people who will come and share the experience, but also we have like a panel of managers, and we call it an advice from the managers. And it's always amazing how some very big people in big positions will come and spend time with them, answering questions, giving them tips. And the good thing about this program is that we have seen some big change. Some of the young that went through this program are now holding amazing positions. Actually, more than 85% of the staff at Reach Africa came through this program. And those others are also now working for other big organizations, and they're amazing. So that's one of the things that we do, and we believe will not just help these young people, but also strengthen companies and organizations. So this is the kind of transformation that we are seeking for, and we are giving our best to make it happen. And the third one is to do with innovation and entrepreneurship, as I said. And you've asked a question about Orange Corners. With Orange Corners, we're actually running an acceleration program. So businesses that have already launched and are at the phase of scaling their businesses, they apply. There's a link. We open the application because the program is for 4 months, and they have access to so many things: masterclasses, workshops, events, coaching, mentoring, and we do because it's a tailor-made program. So we will not, if your company has a very specific need, we'll focus on that. So we are not going to give you the same solution as the other company, yet you don't have the same problem. So this is what Stretch Africa is all about, and that's what we do. And we are
a lot of people and young people are starting the companies, they are running them, and probably they are making mistakes. You see, so I would like to know, to each and everyone who is watching this, what does it take to be part of that space, to access that?
Well, I mean, opportunities are there for some. They are not free, of course, because we are a company anyway. We need to make money to run the company and be able to pay the staff and the space and everything. But we do have programs that are also free, and we do have programs like Orange Corners, which are sponsored. So my advice is always to keep on following us on our social media. We offer a lot.
Young people here in Burundi, any potential for them? What is the potential, or where do they go wrong when they are starting business, when they are running the business?
That's a good question. I was talking about this even this morning. What leads you to business? How do you find yourself starting a business? That's the biggest question. And often people go into business because they're being told this is where money is. That's the first thing. Secondly, when someone fails at school, his or her or she is being told, go and do business at least. So entrepreneurship is not for failure people. I mean, you can be a failure and go and succeed in entrepreneurship.
That's true.
You have to be smart. You have to be willing and ready to learn, to unlearn, to fail, and keep on going. Right? So one thing that I've noticed, people don't take time, to identify real needs, because an entrepreneur is a problem solver. So often when you ask them, which problem are you solving? They look at you and they tell you the business they are doing. And I'm like, no, I'm not asking you what business you are doing. I'm asking you, which problem are you solving? And maybe the last thing I can share here, we are supposed to bring painkiller. Now, many businesses are vitamins, and that's where also the problem is. So how often do we go to pharmacy to buy vitamin? But when we are in pain, surely we go to get painkiller.
That's interesting.
So how do we get to that point is by, first of all, stop complaining for everything and anything and start seeing opportunities around. Because the moment you turn the challenge into opportunity, first of all, it prepares you to see something different. You start seeing things from a different angle, and obviously it becomes easy for you. Oh, what if? All right. And it's something that many entrepreneurs don't do. They come into entrepreneurship because there is money. So if you're not solving problem, people will not buy your products.
That's true.
Simple. So that's why for us at TH Africa, we always building new stuff because our ears are on the markets. What are the needs? What are the current needs? And what can we do to improve? What can we do to add value? And leave that comfort zone of saying, oh, we are the best, we are good. What does it mean? It means nothing. So if you don't keep on reinventing yourself, others will do. But the secret, solve problems. And people will pay for that. Be a problem solver. The moment people are aware that you are the one who has solution to the problem, they will come to you.
What's the book that probably changed your life?
I love this question. Die Empty. From Dr. Miles Moore.
That's it?
Yes.
Okay.
That was that book.
Place that you like to go and think?
Oh, the beach.
The beach.
Yeah.
A photo you took that means a lot to you?
Ooh. It was very, actually, it's very recent. It was in Italy. It's been a dream for me to go to that country since I was studying architecture, because we studied the architecture of Italy, and it's actually one of the best in the world. And I had that dream in my heart to one day go, and I got that shot, and I'm glad. That was, yeah.
All right. Can we say that photography is one of your hobbies?
It's more than a hobby for me.
It's you use it as a profession or something.
At some point, yes. That's a whole chapter. That's a whole chapter. But yes, at some points I did photography as profession. I made good money back in Nairobi through photography. But at some point I had to choose. There's one of the subjects which I talk a lot about is personal branding. And at some point the question was, what's your brand, Larissa? What do you want to be known for?
You have a lot of things to do. How does your day look like, by the way?
Crazy.
Crazy.
In one word, crazy. I mean, crazy. You know, I've never understood this, by the way. When people tell me, oh, I'm idle, I'm like, what? How can God create an entire person and you're telling me you don't know what to do in your life? Yeah, and this was way, way before. Like, I will always find something to do. If it means painting a bottle, I will do something. So it's something that I've never understood. I'm always busy unless I'm sleeping. And even when I'm sleeping, I think my mind is busy, and that's also a problem.
Any word of encouragement to everyone watching this, maybe young people?
For me, the advice is definitely to find your purpose in life.
Yeah.
The moment you find your purpose in life, because we have created for a reason. And when you don't know why you have been created for, what you have been created for, you find yourself doing what you are not meant to.
Thank you for coming. It has been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.